We're recording. And ta-da! Hello, and welcome to Relationship Rehab.
Hello.
I am Lee, and
And
this
Paul.
is
Doing tech stuff.
my better half, my techie. Hold on.
And now we can sit
Yeah.
back. There.
You know, few people are committed to their shows enough to marry their tech guy.
Yes, this is true. Hello.
20-something years in advance, like a psychic prediction that this was going to happen at some
Right.
point.
You would need a tech guy.
I would need a tech guy.
This is good.
Yeah, that's just brilliant of me. So happy Friday.
Yes.
We are in March now, March 2nd of
Move
2012.
it a little closer to me.
Of course, that's what you always say.
Yeah, that's right. There.
Okay, I'm operating on fumes because we were out and about. I was out and about last night.
Hang on, your son is
my
watching our show.
Yeah.
If we're going to do that.
Yeah, this is not safe for children. And of course, I've got my child in a room watching it. That's probably not a good idea. So he's going to go turn off my screen and stuff. Anywho, yeah, last night I was meeting with a bunch of incredible bloggers and social media peeps and down in LA. So
Okay,
that
so
was
our
fun.
son can see us without hearing us. That's
great.
okay. As long as we don't.
Because
make
I don't
any
usually
bad-
do, you
yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
I don't do things like
Yes.
that. Yes, I'm Hispanic, but I don't speak with my hands that much.
No.
So yes, I was down there, didn't get home until 2.
Yeah.
And then by the time I get home, I get really wired because we have to go up the mountains, and I have to
Yes.
drive up the mountain, and that's kind of scary at night.
I stayed home and ate meatballs with the boys.
Yes, he had the hard night.
That's right.
You tired
So,
today?
Exhausted. Yes. I was busy pining at the door.
It's true.
Yes.
I was gone.
That takes a lot of
It's
work.
true.
Scratching at the door. Where are you? Like that.
Yeah. And it's true, because the moment that I walk into the bedroom, you're home? It's like,
Yes.
no, just a figment of
And then
your
I
mind.
pass out.
Yeah.
I'm just that kind of guy. Go ahead.
So, I'm
I
a
have to
lucky
push
girl.
buttons every so often.
So, anything else going on that we need to chit-chat about?
Don't know.
Next week, we are going to be discussing... Wait a minute. Are we doing next week? No, we're not doing next week.
No.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's the 9th. We're going to be down in LA.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, that would be
You're going to have to play that one by ear.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll announce
and
it.
We'll announce it if we do. This is like the beginnings of what do you call this? Oh yeah, spring break for a lot of people next week. So we have our daughter's going to be coming into town. We also have family coming to the West Coast and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know how it's going to work. I'm still a little bit muddled of it as to how that's supposed to work, but I know that we'll be in LA on Friday.
Right.
So if we're in a place where we could do it, yeah, sure. If we're not, I get to sleep
Yes, right. We'll let you know. We'll advertise.
like we do.
Yeah.
And my lovely commercials, and nobody says anything about them. I slave over my little commercials and anywho, yeah, we'll be talking about in our next show, whenever that is. We'll be talking about sexuality,
Oh, we will. Okay, not sex necessarily.
not sex,
Sexuality.
sexuality.
Yes. I know that there's a difference.
Yes, most people don't.
No.
Most people assume. See, that's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
That sexuality is only about sex. So we'll be discussing that. And just a reminder, we are the writers of coupledom.com. I've been a psychotherapist for over 25 years. And my wonderful better half
I've
here.
been a psycho for probably more than 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking more like around 40.
Yeah.
We've been married for 23 years. Astrophysicist, MBA.
Yay.
Which means that between the two of us, we know everything.
That's right. That is the point.
That's the point.
That's why we got together, so that
Yeah.
we can know everything. Yeah.
Pretty much. That's it. So don't question us. That's really the meta message to what
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you here.
Mm-hmm.
I might be running a little slow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, are we
So
going
the
into
topic,
what we're talking about?
the topic of this week is happiness in relationships. Now, a few years back,
Or sleepiness.
happiness.
Happiness.
A few years back, we did the Happiness Manifesto.
Yes.
And if you're interested in happiness at all, you might want to read this. It's not your pablum kind of, exercise every day. No, the Happiness Manifesto is really a list of things that you commit to, and that will help you create happiness in your life.
Now we want you to dress in the green khaki things, and this is a manifesto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take up
It is-
arms.
Right. This
Or
is take up
coffee.
arms. You're right. You are at war with unhappiness.
Yes. And the thing, the beauty part of the manifesto, which you can find on coupledom.com, there's actually a tab that takes you to Happiness Manifesto, is that there's not a lot of things you have to do it. There are more ways of being, ways of believing, ways of looking at the world. It's not like, we're going to have you get up at 4:30 in the morning and do push-ups. It's, specifically, happiness is a way of being. So then these are ways of being that will ensure that you're going to be happy. So then we're taking it a step further and talking about happiness in relationships.
Yes.
For some, I have no idea, reason, there's this constant conversation that you can't be happy in relationships. Even though scientifically we know that people are generally happier in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
There's this, I don't know what it is. It's the media portrays relationship as, the joke is that once you're in a relationship, you're dying. And, that
It's a
it
little
kills
piece
you.
Of hell.
Yeah, it's, it kills you. What is this? I'm trying to remember all the jokes to it. It's it's good for the man, but it kills the woman, or the ball and chain references. Mm-hmm. All these things are about not being happy when you're in a relationship. That there's something better out there than relationship. And the funny part is, what?
Yeah.
Because single people are generally more depressed than people in relationship. And I'm not saying everybody should be in a relationship. It'd be nice, like a little Noah's Ark thing. Everybody pair up and all that. But
I think everybody should be happy.
Yeah, and if you're happier alone, then fine. But you also need to look at that because human beings were created to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. There's a certain symmetry to being in a relationship. There's the yin and the yang. There's something about another person complimenting you. Right. And I just want to point out how gender neutral I'm being about this. So, because of something we wrote this week, which is basically that we talked about homosexuality this week, which we're, pro,
Yes.
all that,
Yep.
we are.
Yeah.
But anyway, in relationship, okay, one, rotten relationships are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make anybody more depressed than being alone.
Right.
But even a mediocre relationship will bring more happiness than being alone. So look at that.
And generally speaking, our audience, the people who read our stuff and watch the show, are pretty happy people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in relatively good relationships, which we appreciate. This makes us happy.
And that's
So
why we do it.
keep up the good work.
And this is why we do it.
What,
Keep
right?
us happy.
Okay, I need you to stay in the room until I come.
Yes, our little one has taken to saying that everything scares him, which is not true. I know it's not true, but that's his new thing. So then we're gonna start out the week. With talking about myths about being happy in a relationship, and myths about happiness in general. One of them is the idea that you can't be happy and sad at the same time. We're very, one of the things that, we learn, math in school, and we learn about history, and we learn all sorts of good stuff. We learn Roman numerals. Mm-hmm. I was my cousin's daughter was here last weekend, and she's in 7th grade and doesn't know Roman numerals. And my cousin and I, who both went to Catholic school all our lives, did one of those. You don't know your Roman numerals? Of course we did, because how else can you survive without knowing them?
Plus, when you were there, it was in Latin.
It was
right?
in Latin. Yes, that's true. But
happiness.
But the point is that we teach our kids all these like little things. Like today's Dr. Seuss' birthday, and everybody's reading Dr. Seuss stuff. It's like, okay, you need to know about one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, and you need to know about all these things. But we never sit down and actually talk to kids about emotions and how they work.
And we do the semantics of happiness and sadness are opposites. Right. That they get in school.
Yeah, love and hate are opposites. Right. And we hear, we're reprimanded when we show joy in the face of tragedy. And this is as little kids. As adults, you don't get a lot of stuff, and you might get people like being upset that you're happy. But we're told that, like when you're feeling one thing, that's what you're feeling. There's nothing else to it. And, human beings don't work like that. We're very multidimensional. And you can hold several feelings at the same time. Mm-hmm. You can be happy. One of my favorite things to point out to clients would be, you're feeling ambivalent, which of course is everything. Yeah. I love it. I hate it. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm all of it. And I don't know what to do with it.
See, I kind of find it funny.
And that's not confusion. That's feeling it all.
I find it funny that in this world of multitasking, that we still...
What's up, Captain Morgan? I'm just... You're doing your best Angelina Jolie from the Oscars.
Is it?
Yes. Take that leg out.
We are great multitaskers. You'll have a person who will be on their phone, texting while having a conversation, while on Skype, and doing all of these things at once. Yet we think that with emotions, we can only do one at a time.
Yeah, because they're overwhelming.
Yeah.
They're all encompassing. Oh my God, I love you so much. Oh, I hate you. And I think that that's one of the reasons why relationships fail, because the moment we start feeling those icky feelings, it's like, oh, it's ruined. You have ruined this. It has been besmirched by your ugliness, and that's it. And that's not how emotions work. Emotions work. We can have many feelings at the same time. You could very well feel that intense grief, and yet still feel happy that you're still around, and that you're still able, and that you knew the person who passed or who left your life. And there's so many things that you could feel, and yet we focus on one thing, and we tend to focus on the negative.
Yes.
Always focusing on the negative. And it takes, then it's like, if somebody says, but look on the bright side, it's like, okay, Pollyanna, I can't do that. And then you get angry, with the very idea that you can leave that negativity and see something different. Yesterday, the plans that we had made to meet up down in the beach area were getting kind of muddled, okay? And you know, we live 2.5, 3 hours away from there. So I drove down early because I wanted to miss traffic and such. So, Paul's like, okay, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to make the best of it because I could sit here and be pissed that it's not working the way I want it to. You see, this is how we operate on this earth right now. That when things don't go your way, you basically furrow your little brow and just get angry.
Like pout.
And you pout about.
We're a nation of pouters.
Yeah, I wanted it to look like this, and it didn't look like this, and how dare you? Instead of like, okay, well, this is what it is, and let's figure it out. Let's make it the best for me at this point, because I didn't get what I wanted. I can acknowledge that, but this is here. Okay, I'll go this way because you can't really see. This is the past, and this is the future, right? And what we tend to do is plan for the future and put all our little eggs in that basket. And then when we don't get it, we focus on what we didn't get. So we're constantly pulling ourselves into the future and focusing on, oh, I want this. And then that desire of, oh, and this is what I want. And it becomes very, all-encompassing. And then when you don't get it, then it becomes this lamenting, like, oh, man, I didn't get it. And that's where your anger lies. And then that's where your sadness lies. And all these, like, negative, icky emotions are right here. And you're stuck in the past of what you didn't get. Instead of enjoying the moment. You see, happiness is present.
Right.
Happiness is now. But what we do is, you know what? When I get that new car, I'll be so happy in the future. When I get my job, my raise, my promotion, when we have a baby, everything is in the future. And we plan these things and trying to create happiness in the future. Well, you can't feel that future happiness because it's not happening. Right? But you see, that's how we've learned it. Like, I'll be pissed about yesterday, but I'll be happy tomorrow. So right now I'm where? Waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting and stewing. And it just doesn't work that way, people.
Well, if you look at it logically.
Getting my coffee.
Yeah. You look at it logically.
Right.
Okay. How am I going to achieve happiness? Well, let's do it by being pissy, frustrated, angry. Let's see. All of these are great ways of getting to happiness.
That doesn't work?
Any sense?
That doesn't work?
Yeah.
I used to be a pretty angry person. And there was
So
always...
she says.
No, I was.
Okay.
I
used
quick.
to see it.
I know, because I was just so bad. But I tended to go to the anger. I still do. I tend to go to anger. Easier, like instead of getting sad right away, I will.
We all have our default emotions.
Yeah. Pissed.
That is,
That would have been mine.
Right. Yes. Mine is hopelessness.
Oh yeah. Paul is very dramatic.
I'm very dramatic.
And,
oh yes.
Yeah. No, I just get pissy. But that ain't no way to live. It's a very sad way of living.
And it doesn't achieve happiness.
No, ever. You get glimpses of it. You get like these oh, did you feel that? That's the happiness. It's like a whiff of happiness hits you. And then you're like, oh, that was nice. And then we don't realize that we're only happy in the present, and we keep thinking that it's this thing that we get to reminisce about, or a thing that we get to plan about. And we've been taught by society. We were sold this bill of goods that the most you can get out of life is being content. I mean, I used to say that. That yeah, what I really want in life is just to be content. And it's like, you know, the semantics in it are really amazing because content meaning satisfied. I got what I want. So satisfaction, is that the same as happiness? No,
No.
not even close. Where are you going?
I'm closing this because now the sun came out. And you have
And
turned
now-
into a great ball of...
Oh, there I am again. I have features. I have features again. Happiness.
You have turned into Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Right. So then we're told, the most that you
There
could
we
ask
go.
for is being content, and in being content, you should be happy with that. That is really what you're told. That is really what society is kind of like forced to believe, and we're told that happiness is something fleeting. If you go through all the cliche, happiness is fleeting. So you get, little teeny weeny pieces of happiness. Instead of having a general state of being, a general way of being happy, which is being present and being appreciative and grateful and in awe of all you have. That's not content by any means. That's like so far away from content. It's like you left content, in the dirt with that kind of feeling. And you can be, one of the so happiness is fleeting, which is bullshit. The reality is you can be happy all the time.
Yes.
You can be in relationship and be happy all the time.
Yep.
And instead of waiting for the next conflict.
Something's wrong. Mommy's computer.
Don't worry about mommy's computer. That's fine. Don't even think about mommy's computer.
Yes.
Just think about Trios.
Yes.
If Trios is out there and would like to sponsor us, that
We
would
have
make
you.
me very
We
happy.
have you all over the house. I don't see why not.
Yes, I've got your shape in the bottom of my foot.
Yes. So what do you say about happiness all the time?
Yes, you can be happy all the time.
There
I think
you
I
go.
wrote something about it.
Yes,
I have
you
no
did.
idea what, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says that you can't be, it's like we are committed to being happy. So we are happy all the time. That doesn't mean that we don't get pissed.
No.
I mean, January,
That's it.
I'll give you a little story.
Mhm.
We were, we celebrated Christmas back in Miami with our family and Paul came back to the realization that at some point our websites were gone.
Oh, yeah.
And for people who basically live by their sites, that's kind of a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting here. Okay, Ricky's actually playing with my computer and I can hear myself. All of a sudden Paul does, oh my God, our websites are gone. And he calls the server people and they're like, yeah, you told us to sell them. And Paul's like, what do you mean I told you to sell them? Oh yeah, we sold them and blah, blah, blah. And, it's not like we didn't own them. We own our sites. So,
I
and
went insane.
Paul went insane. To say batshit crazy. What? No, I think that we leave batshit crazy behind on that one
Oh,
too.
yeah. That was the first sentence.
Yeah.
I kept talking after
He
Patrick
just,
Crazy.
yeah, he just kept on, and his voice got a little shrill.
Yeah.
And he was screaming. And now,
I
understand.
think I talked about going to the Supreme Court. And
This
it
is
was bad.
this is Paul's like that mild mannered kind of guy. He doesn't usually get up in your face. So then when Paul gets that angry that he's screaming at somebody, understand, I've been married to the guy for 23 years. I've known him for 25 years now. And in those 25 years, I can count on one hand how many times he's really just lost his shit and started screaming at people.
And that was like two of them right there. I doubled down on that one.
So when he's going off, I'm like, oh crap, this is scary. Now, of course, I get anxious because my husband's going, threatening lawsuits and vivisection and stuff like that to these, I don't know.
Getting addresses of where the person is
Yeah.
right now.
It's like, I know Russian people and shit like that,
Yeah.
And he was so angry, but at the same time, we're still happy.
Oh yeah. Yes, I did not lose my happiness.
Life didn't just, fall apart because of the possibility that we lost all of our businesses.
Yeah.
And we tend to do that. And we tend to, if something doesn't work or if something fails or whatever, that life is over. Feeling like, woe is me. And we have to let go of that root feeling of, I feel good, I feel safe, I feel happy, I feel content, I feel, joyful in that I have everything I want and need in my life, and the general just having a little smirk on your face because you know something other people don't know, that it is possible
See,
to be
one
happy.
of the things we talked about last week was crisis, right?
Yes.
And that was one of the points of crisis, is that people tend to start very individual with crisis. It's always my crisis. Happiness is a very shared thing. Yes, I am happy. It's my way of being. But, in this case at least, we had a crisis. I was angry.
It was mostly Paul who had the crisis.
I was angry.
I was just sitting there like...
But at the same time, I was happy to be able to share the crisis.
With everybody on the mountain.
Yes, with us.
Like I said, he lost his shit.
Yeah. But does that make sense? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes. There is it's part of the focusing outward. It's part of all of the things that we talked about last week. That's where some of this happiness shows itself, because you get to share it. So I was very happy to go, I'm so mad right now.
Because he wasn't doing it alone.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't muster as much pissness as he, because I wasn't on the phone with these people.
Plus, I also think I was like a vacuum. I just sucked all the pissness out of the air.
I was just afraid that he was gonna blow a gasket or something.
Everybody on the mountain was unpissed because I was using it all.
Right. So another one is this happiness of like, oh, I'm so happy.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy. Now, as a woman who has been known to cry when happy, you don't have to stay there.
No. Matter of fact, that's a little on the crazy side.
There's a difference between, there are drama queens and all that also get dramatic with happiness too.
Yeah.
And, I'm just so overwhelmed. And happiness can be very overwhelming. Actually, it's more like joy. But, okay, this is the interesting thing. One of the blessed parts of having a kid diagnosed with Asperger's is that you really have to get clear on what emotions are.
She really did do an amazing thing for us.
So we used to,
For me.
I don't know if you've seen those posters, how do you feel today, and little faces that show you grumpy face, happy face, love face, and you go through there's about 20, 30 of them on the page. Another thing, we don't teach kids to distinguish between what being frustrated is and being angry.
Right.
So very distinct emotions. The frustration is an inward anger. And that inward anger, could be very hurtful to yourself. Right. Anger is usually outward. Okay? When you're angry at something. And, frustration also has a thing of, there's a stuckness to being frustrated. And then if you go through each and every one of those feelings and figure out what the physicality of it is.
really identify them.
Identify them so that you could teach your kids,
Mhm.
so that they learn the language of emotion.
Because I would say birth of a child. Most people don't put it under the category of happy. I don't think that that's a joyous. It's a little bit bigger than, weepy, I'm going to cry happiness.
Yeah.
You know,
It's joy, it's
Right.
shock,
right?
it's, we don't get those feelings. I was just so incredibly happy. You were more than that.
So,
You were stunned into
Uh-huh.
silence. You were, and that's another thing. It's like, people go into shock and we get lost in what the emotion is at that moment because shock doesn't let you feel it.
And again, since we have this mentality that we can only do one emotion at a time, then, it's like, okay, I'm joyous, but I'm going to discount, shocky, awe, fearful,
Now
really
what?
tired, and kind of nauseous, and I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
Um,
That would have been me.
yes.
I wasn't nauseous though.
No. Oh, you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for tuna.
Pregnant women don't get to eat tuna. I like tuna.
Now, when I brought you the tuna, though, you were happy.
I was very happy.
Yes.
I was very happy. Actually, no, I was ecstatic. It was like, oh, I love you. Because it was a moment of love, too.
Yes.
Because when I had Ricky, I don't know what the hell these people were thinking. They closed the frickin' cafeteria at 7 o'clock at night. 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I had him at 4:44. I had been in the hospital since 4:30 in the morning. So I hadn't
Hungry.
eaten anything since the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Starving. Yes, I had just been in labor for 12 hours and pushed out a baby. And, and they were,
Peckish.
and all I wanted was a fucking tuna fish sandwich and some Fritos. It's like, what does a woman have to do around here? Oh, that's right. Have a baby? Frustrated.
Yeah.
Not
So-
appreciated.
No. So you don't need to be weepy. Happiness is not a weepy emotion. Happiness is, happiness.
Yeah, it's like what Paul wrote for this week. It's like happiness is not weepy. It is subtle and pleasant. If someone is crying about how happy they are, they're either lying or drunk.
Mm-hmm.
How beautiful.
Isn't it?
It's really.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Well, but where do you see that? The only time you see that is usually at
That's true.
the end of a wedding reception, when the last people are being helped out,
Pushed
of the,
It's like, yeah,
Uh,
yes. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
that's right.
Okay.
Uh,
Myth 4. God makes you happy. If you go to the Happiness Manifesto, the one thing that you're going to pull out of the Happiness Manifesto that pretty much goes through everything that you commit to is responsibility. And nothing and no one or no being makes you anything.
Right.
And you are responsible for your feelings. So if God makes you happy, then he can easily make you sad.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
he
you
can,
have just given control of your happiness somewhere else.
yeah, you can say things like, I'm happy because I know God, and that's taking responsibility. And the reason why I know that my beautiful counterpart wrote that as a myth is because we know too many people who really believe that they're only happy because God is in their heart,
Yeah.
and that God has created this state of happiness for them.
And honestly, it wasn't just anecdotal. It's not just from our own experience. I looked it up. And there's a whole bunch of studies that basically show that people who go to church do maintain a higher happiness level. It's, what was it, contentness, and there's
It's a scale.
Yeah, there's a scale. But what the other part that they found was that the reason why is because it's creating relationships with the people within the community, and it doesn't really have as much to do with the God part.
Right. You're doing a shared activity, much like people in teams,
Yes.
and not besmirching the big guy. You know, we're not big religion people. We
But we
are
are good, big God people.
yeah, we are spiritual. We practice, our spirituality, but there's a certain amount of responsibility certain churchgoers give up about how they're feeling and about what's going on. If something bad happens, that's Satan. If something good happens, that's God. And they're at the whim of these beings.
Yeah. Ping pong ball in the ocean.
Yeah, and I'm pretty certain that in whatever religion you find yourself in, or whatever, even unreligion, even from atheism to agnosticism to Christianity, Judaism, all of them, there's a certain responsibility that you have to take for your own life to complete the initiation. And we get stuck in the victimness of it. I'm only happy with God. And I'm sad with that.
Whereas, and this is a piece of, my own philosophy. I think one of the biggest gifts God gave was other people.
And that really, it's like even in the metaphor, okay, as former Catholics, we were taught that Adam and Eve is not a real story, that it's a metaphor. And metaphorically speaking, God creates Eve for Adam so he won't be alone. And what we find is that people, and then I'm saying this psychologically now, people flourish in relationship. People find that they're able to do things that they weren't able to do, that they grow as human beings within a relationship, because it's almost like you're forced to. You're forced to be greater than the sum of its parts. It's like when we talk about two people getting united, you're no longer two people, you become one. And in that one, it has to be much bigger than the 50% or the, that each of you put into this relationship.
Right.
So, this goes back to the marriages corporation thing, and then you could read about that.
That's
too.
right.
Which happens it. Okay, so what's the last myth you got there here? Happiness isn't sexy. Ha. One of the things, it's funny because last night somebody was saying that, what is it with Hispanic women that were happy and sexy and all this? And I'm like, how many Hispanic women do you know? And I only say that because I am Hispanic and I know some really dramatic little Latino women. Happiness makes you feel good about yourself. Happiness makes you feel confident. Happiness makes you sexy. Confidence and feeling good about yourself are the hallmarks of being sexy.
Scientists showed people the pictures, and that's what they like to do.
Yeah.
Is this person sexy? People's smiles on their face, we're sexier.
Yeah. And, that's, it's like if I were to ask him, now he's a big smiler. He likes to smile. He smiles all the time. Women find him sexy. Now, I knew it long ago. I saw the diamond in the rough. It was rough, people. He had an afro long ago. And his mom used to cut his hair and stuff like that. And that makes me laugh. But people find him sexy because he smiles. And happiness is a sexy
Full
thing.
girl just joined the room.
Really? Seriously? Hello. So long. I've not seen you. Yes. So, I will give you now the secret of being happy in your relationship.
Yes.
I'm gonna share with you what the secret is.
No.
Yes.
Yes?
No.
Okay. No.
Drinking. No. Coffee. Yes. Yeah, I actually, because I only slept a few hours, Paul actually poured me 2 cups of coffee so he didn't have to get up.
Yes. because I knew she was going to be pounding them
Yeah.
back. Yeah,
My
drinking it
my
like
little
you have
eyes
to.
aren't even focusing.
Yeah.
So, the secret.
So, what is the secret? We just got one of them?
Yes. No, we've got
Three, I
three.
think.
Very simple.
Okay.
Be courteous to each other. One of the things that we do when we get out of that honeymoon phase of being together is that we stop being courteous to each other. And we stop saying things like please and thank you. And we raise our expectations to you should know better. You should know what I want. And that initial, oh, thank you so much. And, that hello and the greeting and all of that goes away for some reason. And Paul and I have seen this through the long span of our marriage, how people just stop being civil with one another. And it's funny because then you see them with other people and they're extremely civil.
All right.
But within their own unit, within what matters most to them, supposedly, they've stopped.
Yeah. Almost like they've forgotten.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I don't think it's an angry thing. It's not.
no, it's because you take it for granted. Yeah. We're together now. Yeah, you better bring me my coffee. My husband is a wonderful guy and he brings me my coffee every morning. And every morning he gets a thank you for bringing me coffee. And I get a you're welcome for bringing, and honestly, I will tell you that this lesson was taught to me by this sage guru of love so many years ago. His name was Paul. Because he was just so courteous. And I was like, my parents don't do things like that. I mean, hell, I don't remember the last time they said, gracias or, por favor or anything like. They don't talk like that to each other, My parents speak Spanish, so obviously please and thank you aren't, high on their list of things to say to one another. Yeah, sometimes please, but it's more begging that I would hear. And there was always a certain kind of anger or frustration behind, please. I had to say it with the accent.
And
my
that's
dad,
really right.
and my dad,
Yeah.
forget it. I
Right.
never heard him
you
say
just
that.
Did your mom.
I did my mom, because my father would never, ever,
Yeah.
even thank you, wasn't a big one.
Yeah. He would move more into anger before.
Yeah. So then, to get married and find this guy who was literally thankful for everything I did. I mean, everything.
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, getting a thank you after sex, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice.
When
okay.
else would you thank somebody?
I know.
mean, come on. Hopefully,
don't-
Will's saying, I wonder if it's a Latin thing because her parents do the same thing.
Yeah. No, it's actually it's a comfort thing. Like, I don't have to say please and thank you with you. It's kind of like, do you say please and thank you with your siblings? I do, because I was taught by the sage guru Paul. But there's a certain beauty in that. And there's a certain honor in that. Mm-hmm. When you say please and thank you, you're honoring that person. You're grateful for what they've done for you. You don't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. This is everything that we do for one another is a gift. It's like, yes, we have a responsibility to each other because we are in a relationship, but we still have the choice of not doing it. We still have the choice of not being who they want us to be, not doing the things we want to do. And by saying please and thank you, we're saying, you know what, thank you for choosing to do something loving. Thank you for for doing something that helps me and not expecting it. See, because that's where we get all fucked up in relationship is we expect people to do certain things. And that's really not a healthy way of being because then you're at the mercy of them.
See,
It's about being responsible, people.
Right. Please and thank you are outward manifestations of a way of being, of an internal way of being. It's being in gratitude, being grateful.
And you can't be sad when you're grateful.
No. Nope.
Especially after sex.
Yep.
There you go.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Okay. Be kind. You're saying please and thank you. That's because someone just did something nice for you.
Yeah.
We forget the niceties when we're in a relationship. It's that I'm comfortable now.
Right.
So I don't have to be nice. And this is what pisses me off about days like Valentine's Day. I was watching Bill Maher the other night, and he was showing, it was after Valentine's Day, and he was showing commercials for Valentine's Day. And one of the commercials he showed is this woman putting on, stockings and lipstick and, and then she goes, it's very simple, guys, Valentine's Day isn't difficult. He goes, if you give, you'll receive. That's what she says. Then there's a picture of this flower, arrangement with a vase, and then in the vase had like jewelry around the neck of it. And then he shows another commercial of a teddy bear company, and at the end of it, the woman is laying there with a teddy bear in bed, and she's in a nightie, and she's like stroking the teddy bear like this, all sexy and whatever.
I don't know what she's doing with the teddy bear.
I know. It's like, what kind of teddy bear did you get?
It's right.
And then he goes, Valentine's has become this gift for blowjob exchange. And it's like the one time of year where we're going to acknowledge this love. And I'm going to be nice to you and give you some flowers and some candies and shit like that. But the rest of the year,
And that's a part of it or a major part of it, I think, is because we don't acknowledge we're happy. If you acknowledge you're happy, then it's like, okay.
But that's not part of what the societal understanding of relationship is. So, I've known too many women who say things like, oh, I didn't get anything from my husband for Christmas. And that just leaves me like stunned, like, really? Now I can understand if there's money issues and whatever, and you decide, you know what, we can't, let's not give each other anything, whatever. But you don't.
That's a whole different conversation.
But that's a different conversation, and even in that, you could still be nice to one another.
Yeah.
And not have that be like this, I didn't get a present this year, like a little kid. So, then just the niceties. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna get dinner tonight. Oh, thanks, honey. How nice of you. And acknowledging that, oh wow, and once again being courteous and acknowledging the niceties that they do for one another. It's like, that's one of the things about being courteous. It's like, if you don't acknowledge what people are doing for you, they'll stop doing it. And it's like, oh, well, then it was conditional. No, it's just that you're reinforcing the behavior. Right. This is simple, conditioned response.
Yeah,
It's like, if you, it's here's
the
Skinner
stuff.
Yeah, it's like, here's the action. I'm going to praise it. Therefore, you will continue doing that action, so you can continue getting praise. Right. Okay.
Or if you want to get a little bit more logical about it, if I do something that I think is nice and I don't get a response, then I don't know it's nice.
Yeah. I don't know. You like it.
Yes.
It's like, and this is one of the things, like when I worked with couples, and we're having issues in the bedroom, and he doesn't know what to do, or she doesn't know what to do, because they're not getting any kind of acknowledgement from the partner. It's like, well, he should know. Well, how should he know? Well, because I made a noise. Was that a happy noise?
Yeah.
Was that a good noise?
Uh-huh.
Be clear in your communication.
Did the noise
From
sound
a
like, this is really good right there? You
got it.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Uh,
You know, acknowledge one another and say, gosh, that was perfect. Good job.
Mhm.
Kudos to you. Whatever it is, acknowledge it, and be very clear. Never leave, people say things like, well, always tell people that you love them because you're never going to know. If you are clear in your communication, people will always know. If you tell them on a daily basis, I love you. And not from this, love you. No, I love you.
Yeah.
Eye to eye, heart to heart kind of, hey, thank you. That was really nice of you. We do this with our children.
Mhm.
And people always tell us, like, God, your kids are so polite. And we always wonder, really? Why do they say that? And I realize because they say please and thank you all the time. Like, ad nauseum. Our little 5-year-old is like, thank you, Mommy. Not because I'm like, what do you say? I don't say that. We have taught, now I'll itch you on my nose. We have taught them to be grateful, and we've taught them that this is how you deal with people. You say thank you for what you like, and please for what you want.
I am a firm believer in really using your words at this point.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
with everything.
Yeah.
What you said about I love you. It's not, oh, well, they kind of know. No, say the words and say them firmly. If you're doing something nice, say so. I'm a big fan of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is part of communication. Actually means that the other person knows.
Got it.
Yeah, got it. That is
See, there's
the
a
important
listening part of the communication
Right.
that we tend to forget.
Yeah.
So
And all of this is, kind of boils down to your way of being and then communicating it.
yes. And the last big secret to our success of being happy in a relationship: forgive.
Yeah. Shit happens.
We can't be perfect.
Uh,
There's going to be good days, there's going to be bad
Mhm.
days. And for some reason, people keep this journal of shit that the other person did. Remember that one time? It's like, life is too short to remember stupid things.
mhm.
So you screwed up. When you take responsibility for your screw-ups, people tend to forgive you a lot faster.
Right.
And because then you get the whole, oh, well, I can't really punish them for this anymore kind of feeling, I guess. But acknowledging, that you messed up
Mhm.
is one way of going back to being happy, because you're acknowledging something, you're taking responsibility for your life. But then the other person is allowed to do things like, okay, that's cool, and let it go. And when I mean let it go, you let it go.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to fish it in the trash in a minute. You let it go and forget about it. Now, granted, if it's something huge,
Mhm.
I always say to people, it's like, you could easily forgive people, but forgetting usually takes some sort of head trauma.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a practice in that. And then you take responsibility for what you choose to remember.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying. Yes, they screwed up. Yes, that was painful. You can choose to dwell on that and worry it until it's a nub.
Mhm.
Or you could say, you know what, I'm going to let it go. They've taken responsibility and put it aside. And if you are in a heat of battle or argument or whatever, and as people like to do, pulling things from the past, you could choose to say, you know what, I'm not touching that one. See, that's where the forgetting is.
Yeah.
That's where the true forgetting is. You make a choice. When you forgive somebody, you're telling them, you know what, I don't want to carry this anymore. I don't want to let it go. I'm going to let it go. But at the same time, by giving them that forgiveness, you're also saying that I ain't going to touch it anymore. I'm not going to bring it up anymore.
Mhm.
Okay? And that is also a choice to be happy in the relationship. And that is one of those things that I don't see enough of.
I
In
mean, that is
relationships.
definitely one of those that if the bottom line is you can't do the forgiving and being happy thing, then you probably shouldn't be in
Yeah, you really
can't
shouldn't.
be in the relationship anymore.
Even little things.
Mm-hmm.
Even the little things. Because all those little things, if I had to live with someone who had a laundry list of shit I've done
Yeah.
or failed to do
Mm-hmm.
in my duties as wife, I don't think I could be married to that person.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because they've chosen not to be happy.
Right.
They've chosen to dwell in the past. They've chosen to live in this anger and pissiness
Mm-hmm.
from a while back. That they have these wild expectations that I'm going to be some sort of perfect wife, and are sitting there ruminating over these things that I have failed to do.
Yeah.
That's someone who's chosen long before even you showed up that happiness is just not something that could live in that
Yeah, see,
arena.
I wonder, because I believe that most people are basically good. Okay? Basically, okay-ish people. And most relationships are at least okay-ish. So I'm not looking at majorly abusive relationships when I'm thinking about this and that kind of stuff. So I wonder how many people, if they were able to just actually categorize the fact that they were happy and look at the happy moments and acknowledge them, whether that would change things. Because I'm
No,
thinking it from a
honestly,
business point
I
of view,
think that
accounting.
I think that one of the problems is that because of the press that marriage gets,
Mm-hmm.
to say that you're happy makes you sound like a freak.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's something
that's
about
what I'm
that.
thinking,
People
yeah.
don't like to sound different,
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this is one of the reasons why people acknowledge our relationship, because we do tend to, oh, we're happy. And then they're like, really? Like, we're the weird ones.
Yeah.
We're the ones that there's something wrong with you because you're happy.
Well, that's it. We started writing coupledom because we've been happily married for
And that's not
20
just a
something.
saying.
Yeah, that's not it. And the thing is that we get a lot of people who do the whole, oh yeah, well, I agree. I've been married for 25 years, and I don't know many people who have still been married, who are still married that long. And I'm thinking to myself, you missed a word there.
Happily.
You missed an important part.
And that doesn't mean that we have lived this, this
silver spoon
yeah,
kind of life.
sugar and cake kind of
Yeah.
marriage the whole time. We've gone through some major shit. I mean, we've got a kid with major disabilities and stuff.
We have a bankruptcy.
Yeah. We've been through shit.
Yeah.
We've done some stupid stuff.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
gotten fired. He's gotten fired. Lived off ramen, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Happy.
Got it all.
We've been happy.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
So, it's that is a major choice.
Got 2 minutes left.
Yes, we do. So, yeah, and my little eyes are closing on me.
Oh no.
Like, and the show's over and the eyes go down.
You're not gonna take a nap or anything, are you?
It's Friday.
Yes.
You know what Friday is? Nap day. And
on the best of days, it's
Yeah.
a nap day.
Yeah.
And today is, I think, it's going to be mandatory.
Yes, it's a mandatory nap day.
Mandatory nap day.
Yes, National Mandatory Nap Day, according to Coupledom.
Yes. So we may or may not be here next week. We will let you know with great amount of advertising.
Follow us on Twitter at Coupledom, or Facebook Coupledom, or Relationship Rehab is also.
Just find Coupledom.
Yeah,
And
Coupledom.
Relationship
Coupledom
Rehab,
usual
right.
will tell you everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Relationship Rehab always on Facebook tells you.
Yeah.
And Twitter will tell you
Yeah.
whether we're going to be on. By Wednesday, you will see your little commercial if you are going to see us on Friday.
Either way, you should do a commercial, even if it's 2 weeks, and you put, see you in 2 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah, because, I don't have enough to do.
That's what they do on the CBS and ABC and all that kind of
Because
stuff.
this is what we're talking about. That's the
right.
level of professionalism we've got going here.
Hell yeah.
I've got 2 different coffee mugs, honey. I don't think they're going to believe us.
What? Oh, it's this one.
Anywho,
Okay.
what happened?
Nothing.
Oh.
We're still going.
So,
Say goodbye, though.
everybody be happy. We'll probably see you next week. And if we don't, have a lovely 2 weeks.
That's right.
Okay? Ciao.
Bye. Okay, stop it. Save it.
How we doing?
Huh? 1300.
How many people are watching right now?
85. Okay.
See, I told Caesar to make her watch.
Good.
She has meetings?
Yeah.
What does she do?